Hello and welcome to the Biokinetic K9 and a live show, of course. So we're going to be talking about today, how do you approach your conditioning or your gym program, your strength training program with your dog? I'm talking about this because I've had a few interesting conversations in the past weeks, and so I thought I'd share some of those comments with you guys. Of course, you would tell me where you are watching from, what you're doing, what dogs you got, etc., etc. I'd love to hear more. So when we're talking about approaching conditioning with calm authority, what are we talking about? Oh, let me introduce myself. My name is Angela Ahern. I'm the founder of the Biokinetic K9. Welcome. So approaching conditioning with calm authority. Why are we saying that? Well, first of all, when I'm dealing with a lot of people that are actually training their dogs in sport or in other areas, and sometimes they approach conditioning like they would with training their sport. And it's completely different. You need a completely different mindset altogether. You need to put your sport training mind in a box and take out your conditioning mind and plug it back in there. And what are we talking about? So with regards to conditioning, you first need to find out, what is your aim? What is your goal when you are doing conditioning or gym training with your dog? Basically, for me, when I'm doing conditioning work with my dog, my aim is to target specific muscles. I want to work specific muscles. I need to get certain muscles stronger, etc. So I'm going to be targeting certain muscles or muscle areas of the body. And then how do I get to work those muscle areas properly? Because let me tell you, dogs can cheat and you wouldn't know. So what am I talking about? I want to target a muscle area in a hind leg or a hamstring or a core muscle or inside outside thigh muscle, abductor, adductor. We won't get into technical terms. I want to target specific muscles. And then I want to ensure that those muscles are actually being engaged, because the dogs can cheat just by slight shifts of the body and you're not engaging a muscle. Just for example, today we had a dog. We've got to work on their glutes. We've got to get their glutes a little bit stronger, especially on the one side. And what does the dog do? He does the exercise, but he shifts his body in such a way that you miss that area completely. So the importance of watching what your dog does is really important. So we want to target muscles in particular, and we want to optimize our form. That's where that form comes in. Optimize a form so that you get proper engagement of that targeted muscle area. Because if the dog just slightly shifts his form off, we miss the engagement of those muscles. And then once the muscles are engaged, we want to stay on those muscles, and we want to make sure that we can actually use them in a way that we need them for our sport. So once we get a dog to engage, we want to make sure that he can engage them again and again, and hold that sustained engagement so that we know that he knows he is working that area. He will be able to feel it. And for a dog that has got a weaker area, then those certain engagement exercises will be really difficult and really tiring for your dog. So your aim, you must always go in with the conditioning. It's like, what are you aiming to do today? So basically, we want to target muscles, but in order to do that, we have to make sure that our dog has got the optimal form to do this. So I say this, but then I get some of our trainers that say, but Angela, have you seen my dog? I've got a high drive dog. This dog is insane and he just wants to move, and I can't get him to do what I need him to do. We have that. I have that. And how can we work with this dog that is just wants to do things and he's in drive? By taking our normal sport training brain, putting it away, and bringing on our conditioning brain. So we've got to go there in this really calm mode. We can't match our dog's drive. We have to be super calm to bring them down a little bit. And when we're talking about drive, what are we talking about? Drive is that excitement and ability to do the sport, to do the things with gusto, with speed, with power, with, oh, let me just get there and do it. Now, we can't have that type of energy when we're doing conditioning. And what are we talking about there? We need the dog's brain to be in a state where he's actually curious, interested, and wants to learn how to do something. Not, oh, let me just run, go get the ball, or let me go and stand in heel next to you and let's go train. No, we need the dog to be in medium to low drive. So not so low that he's falling asleep and this is really boring, and not so high that he's too excited and wired in his brain to concentrate on what's going on. We need them to be medium to low drive where he goes, oh, okay, let me try this. And let me try this with purpose. And that's what we're trying to achieve with our dog. And if we can get them in a drive state where it is high enough or low enough to ensure thinking, curiosity, and engagement. That's the type of drive we want. So we want to have a nice, semi-calm environment to get purposeful movements. If your drive is too high, we cannot get through to the dog. The dog will just try all things to try and make you happy and see what I'm doing. Can you see it? Can you see it, Angela? That's what we want to get the dog to go, oh, let me try this. Let me put my foot here and see what happens. That's what we want. And you can't do that if you're super excited and you want to just put your foot there. So we want that state of the drive just be a little bit lower than what we use on the sports field. And so when you're using your commands in your conditioning work, we don't want to have the same attitude in our commands as we do on our training field. So when I'm saying to my dog to sit, my sit is a whole long sentence. So I will say, and go back and sit. And that is not the same as the sit command on the field. And I use a lot of body communication to help the dog figure out what I'm asking of them. So we had it just last week on the fields where I was explaining you need your dog to go and sit in this type of position, lie down in this type of position, stand in this type of position, and in this flow. And the person stood there and said, sit down. And of course, the dog can sit and it can lie down and it can stand, but not in the way we need it to in order to engage the right muscles. Not to get that smooth mechanical flow where the right muscles are being targeted and engaged. So we cannot stand there as the trainer in front of the dog and shout out the commands. It's not going to fit the purpose. We're not training for our sport anymore. We're training for our conditioning. And what that means is we need to get accuracy in the movement of the dog, how the dog moves to get to a position. And in order to do that, we really need to watch the speed of the dog and the movement. We cannot have high speed. This is not training on the field where we have to have fast, impactful movements. It is exactly the same as if you have to go to the gym yourself and you need to do some weight training. You're not going to run into that gym, grab the weights, and do the curls as fast as you can, put the squat bar on your shoulder, do the squats as fast as you can. That's CrossFit. That's not purposeful strength training. And to do any weight training under speed and a time trial is really dangerous, because you're not being mindful about how you are engaging your body, how you are moving through the exercise. If your squat, are you bending your knees correctly? Are you leaning too far forward? Are you leaning too far back? Where are your knees? Are they over the right toes? Or are you missing the goal completely because you're going too fast? So you don't want to rush weight training in a gym. You want to do purposeful, strict movements, proper engagement of the body and the muscles that you are going to train. You don't want to just train biceps and you're just going to stand and do the weight. You want to first brace your core and then do that bicep curl. That's how you get proper strength in the biceps. when you are doing your strength training with your dog, the same thing applies. We want them to be engaging those muscles correctly and not just falling down and have a really fast sit. That doesn't help our muscle engagement. The dog can get up quickly, but to go down, we don't want them to fall down in a sit. We want them to engage the muscle all the way down in a sit. And then in that sit, do we want them to engage the core more and the shoulders, or do we want them to engage the back legs more? Two different types of exercises, two different types of movements for the exact same sit command. So what we are looking at when we do our training and our exercises, we don't want high speed. We want purposeful movement. And that then encourages that mechanical accuracy. If we've got purposeful movement, we can then help ensure that our dog has proper movement and form and engagement of the correct muscles for a particular exercise. We want to engage the correct muscle set when doing an exercise. If a dog is just going to be going really fast and he falls into the down, he's not engaging the muscles all the way into that down position. We want to engage those muscles correctly. Some things may seem really silly to somebody else looking in on you doing an exercise, but there's a certain, you see that on social media where you're asking your dog to stand in a certain position and you think, oh, that really? Well, yes, really, because the muscles between different species behave differently. For example, our biceps are just under the surface of the skin, and they are right there. There's a muscle ball here, and it's a moving muscle. But for a dog, their biceps are underneath other muscles. And to engage those biceps, they can't pick up a cup of tea or a cup of coffee like we can, which is what we use our biceps for. So how do we get to that bicep in a dog that is way under all those other layers of muscle? We have to do other kind of exercises. So when we are asking the dog just to stand, we are engaging certain muscles that movement doesn't really help. And those stabilizer muscles really need that engagement over time. They have got high endurance. They are like anti-fatigue muscles. So we have to ask a dog to hold the position for a particular length of time. Otherwise, we are not going to engage those muscles. And those are your stabilizer muscles, and you really need them. So when you have, for example, bicep injuries, they're normally injured because they are underused, because people don't know how to engage those muscles that are way deep down. And to engage them may look silly to somebody that doesn't understand why you are doing a particular exercise. And they think, oh, really, really? But yes, really, really, you need to do it, and the dogs get tired. But we're doing great things underneath the surface of the skin with those muscles. So we need to guide our dogs so that they can get a muscle memory to target particular muscles. And we do this with mechanical accuracy. So mechanical accuracy means to get the dog to move in a direction in a particular way. Mechanically move the body in a particular way, but they need to do it themselves. It's no good us moving the arm. If I move my arm like this, I'm not working my bicep. They need to do it. They need to work that muscle. So how we direct them and how we work them and get them to move in a particular way is really important. And we can do a lot with that just by our own body position with the dog. How we hold our treats affects lots of muscles. So when it comes to performing a particular exercise, there's loads of things that go into working that exercise so that we are actually targeting the correct muscles. And then most important, when we're looking at our approach to conditioning to get those correct muscles, once we've got those muscles, we really need to work on TUT, time under tension. to get that muscle engaged, and then to have it engaged and under tension for a particular length of time. That time under tension is so important when it comes to strength training, for how long that muscle is engaged properly and accurately, and then for how many repetitions that muscle is engaged properly and accurately. And dogs, they can get out of that engagement really easily. For example, if we are having to stand at attention for 5 minutes, how can we stop ourselves from falling over because our body is so tired to be tense that long? We just rock on our feet ever so slightly. So to take the weight off and take the tension off the one leg, and then stand, and then take the tension off the other leg, and then stand. So that time under tension is really important for proper muscle engagement, proper strength training, proper stabilizer strength training, and to get that core and all of the muscles working for a longer period of time, to increase your stamina and to keep your increase your endurance of working, pumping muscles for when you go into trials and the dog has to work for extended periods of time. So that time under tension is really important, and you can only do that if you slow your dog down just a little bit, we work in that medium to low drive, and to keep the mechanical accuracy of the movement correct. So when you approach your conditioning, you approach it calmly and with authority, where the dog is curious to learn and to see what's happening. It's not about, no, you're doing it wrong and you're correcting your dog. It's about, no, let's try this again because we need to get those movements correct. And if you can work the muscles, increase that time under tension, and make those muscles and stabilizers strong, imagine then when you're on the field and the dog has to then have bursts of speed and bursts of power with muscles that are actually capable of saying, yes, bring it on. This is what we do, because they can have tension and they have workability for extended periods of time, and they have the strength, the power, and the endurance to cope through all of those repetitions. That's what we're looking for when we are doing our conditioning training. So conditioning training is not the same as when we go and do our sport training. It's a completely different mindset, attention, curiosity, drive state, and we're doing it with real calm authority, that you understand, you know what you're doing. And this is what you learn when you are working your strength program, because if you can get the mechanics of your dog to go through the motions correctly, you can really get to read your dog and see where and what muscles need extra work and how to engage them further and how to help your dog so that there are no holes in his training and in his strength program. If you do your strength program with speed, just like with people, if you're going to be doing strength training with speed, you will most certainly have poor form. You see it so often when people are speeding through weight training. There are sports that do it, but the form is always bad. And from poor form, you get more injury. And with injury and poor form, you also get pockets of weakness in the muscles. And one of your bigger weaknesses is your tendon areas. They will be the last to strengthen. Those things only strengthen with time under tension. That is so important. So I hope this has helped you. If you found it interesting, let me know, because our strength program is opening up again soon. You're most welcome to go have a look at it. It is at, I'll put out the link here quickly. Let me just see here. Where am I? I'll put it here. I'll put it in afterwards because I can't find it here right now. Can you believe it? So your time under tension and your increased movement and your slow drive and your correct movements, that is the most important. And you get that with a calm authority with your dogs. Watch out in the links below. I'll put out where our strength program is and you can sign up. It's not open right now, but you can put yourself on a waiting list, and I'm happy to send you any information, or if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer any of those questions. So super important when you are approaching any conditioning training with your dog, especially if it's strength training, make sure that you have got the right mindset, that you're dealing with your dog in the right drive state, and that you can get those mechanical movements more accurate. And then you're going to target the correct muscles, and then you're going to see your strength gains, and then you're going to see a more powerful dog. All right, awesome. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, and I'm happy to answer any questions. If you do have any questions, you're most welcome to send me an email. You can get me at fit@thebiokineticcanine.com. And of course, our website is thebiokineticcanine.com. You can read up about what we do. And that's it for me. I'm going to say cheers and have an awesome training weekend. Okay, let me just put up my details, and then you can see where we are and what we do, and you can go from there. Let me put this down. There we go. Bye, everybody. Cheers now.